أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ثم الصلاة والسلام على خير الخلائق أجمعين سيدنا وحبيبنا المصطفى الأمين بالقاسم محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد
وعلى آل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين الغر الميامين، لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين، مهدي هذه الأمة وخاتم الأئمة وطاووس أهل الجنة الحجة بن الحسن العسكري، روحي وأرواح العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء. قال الله العظيم في محكم كتابه الكريم: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن مثل عيسى عند الله كمثل آدم، خلقه من تراب ثم قال له كن فيكون. الحق من ربك فلا تكن من الممترين، فمن حاجك فيه من بعد ما جاءك من العلم فقل تعالوا ندعو أبناءنا وأبناءكم ونساءنا ونساءكم وأنفسنا وأنفسكم ثم نبتهل فنجعل لعنة الله على الكاذبين. آمنا بالله. صدق الله العلي العظيم.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Today there's two incidents that happened that formed a belief and confirmed an existing reality and a confirmation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in regard of Ahl Bayt salawatullah wa salam alayhim ajma'in, and specifically in regard of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib salawatullah wa salam alayhi. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, during many times throughout 23 years after his ba'tha, announced that Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullah wa salam alayhi is my brother, is the one who will succeed me. Starting off with the day of Dar, that we say al-Indhar, وَانذِرْ عَشِيرَتَكَ الْأَقْرَبِينَ, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered Rasulullah to invite his close kinship, his families from Quraysh, and specifically from Bani Hashim, of course, and tell them about Islam. And when he invited them and they ate and they finished, Rasulullah invited them and he said, who will be the one who succeed me? Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullah wa salam alayhi was the one who stood up like he always does when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam called for him, even though he was 10 years of age. So that continued throughout the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam until the day that he took the pledge of allegiance from the people for Amir al-Mu'mineen and Hajjat al-Wada on the 18th of Dhul Hijjah. And Dhul Hijjah itself as well is two incidents in regards of confirmation of what Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam did and what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted him to do. One is the incident of Mubahila. When Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam controlled the middle of Arab Peninsula, he sent envoys to the southern parts. The southern part, which was the northern part of Yemen, was a city called Najran, which was a stronghold of Christianity and Judaism as well. And it was close to Habasha back then, and Ethiopia, geographically speaking, of course. So, and that place, it's like sending an envoy in Vatican's, invite them to Islam. It was equivalent to that. And of course, it's a bigger scale. Vatican's, it's a very small place now. So, when they received that envoy, they gathered and they said, what will we do? he wants to spread Islam in our city. Not by force, but he's sending people to invite people to Islam. Come and debate, know about Islam. They of course refused, and they gathered their scholars. Some of them said that we can go to war with them. But the more wise and the elderly of them, the scholarly figures, they said, let's go and talk to him, because that what they saw the signs of their prophethood in him, and that what they had in their books in regard of there was a prophet to be sent in Arabia, especially with the Christianity and the Judaism, of course, monotheist religion, Abrahamic religion, and they had that promise. And one of the reason they said that the Jews, they resided in Medina, was because they were waiting for the prophet of the end of time, for the seals of the prophets. What they had a problem with, that it wasn't someone from the sons of Isaac, was the son of Ismail. So they said that, let's go and talk to him. They all gathered, and they went on a trip to Medina to speak to the Prophet ﷺ. So to see whether he is a true prophet or not, and debate him there in his capital, in his city, and refute what evidence that he had, if he had any, in their mind, and to see and seek the truth there. They went. It was about like 80 of them, 85 something. 14 of them were scholars, of course. They reached Medina, and strange people with strange clothings, with even nowadays the priests in Christianity, they wear like something unique, something specific kind of dressing code they have, especially the one in the East. Still to the day, they have like a bigger kind of cross, their clothing is unique. So people approach them and, what do you want? So, we came to debate your prophet, see what is he about, if he is truthful or not. Amir Mu'minin sallallahu alaihi wasallam approached them, and he said, you will meet him, but not that with these kind of dress that you are wearing. They rested a day. Next day happened to be Sunday, and they came to the Masjid of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they said, we want to hold our Sunday sermon. So the Muslim objected, and there was a lot of talk going on, but they wanted like maybe to prove something. In the Masjid of Rasulullah, we held what they call it, mass. But they were been allowed to hold that mass in the Masjid of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then they came and started to debate the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So they reached the point, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in this verse, that مثله إن مثل عيسى عند الله كمثل آدم خلقه من تراب. So you're saying that Isa ibn Maryam ala nabiyina wa alayhi salatu wassalam is unique, he's divine. Why he's divine? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي, right? When he merged with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's what they say. So he holds some divinity because of that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I'm paraphrasing with this, if that's the case, then Adam was without a father or mother. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created him from clay. There was a Maryam alayhi salam, right, to be created from. She gave birth to him. She was weak. He was a child. Adam ala nabina wa afdal salatu wassalam, he was created full. So what's, if anyone needs to be worshipped, if so, other than God or alongside God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is Adam. But Adam is equal. إِنَّ مَثَلَ عِيسَى عِنْدَ اللَّهِ كَمَثَلِ Adam. It's like Adam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created him and said, be, and he became. Then, when they refused, and that shows something, that some people, they want to debate for the sake of debate. They're not seeking the truth. We have that in Surah قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ لَا أَعْبُدُ مَا تَعْبُدُونَ وَلَا أَنْتُمْ عَابِدُونَ مَا أَعْبُدُ. I don't worship what you worship, and you don't worship what I worship. I have my religion, you have your religion, right? It's that kind of scenario. That at the end, like, okay, you're not gonna accept what evidence that I'm giving you. So let's come to this, and that is mula'ana. The mula'ana in Arabic is when it's actually mubahila, right? Mubahila means that they will curse. In Arabic means mutual cursing. So I will curse whoever is lying, and you will curse whoever lying. So what is curse? To send Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wrath upon the liar. So there's like, still to the day, you can't do it with someone who is not accepting like the religion for some. Like there's ways to do it. You need to go to the desert. Like there's you have to like put your hand in his hands. There's a ways to do it. It's not like just standing before each other wherever, or like online and cursing each other. No, that happens like every other second. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam who to take with him. Rasulullah didn't choose. But some people say, like this Nasibi ibn Taymiyyah, la'natullahi alayh, he says it's not unique. That doesn't show that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala favors them. It shows that they are just the kinship and they have relation with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I ask anyone who thinks like that, I ask by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name, to look into yourself. If it was other than Ahl Bayt salawatullah salam alayhi, it was the people who you favor, what would you have done? What would you have done? If it was one of the other people, or one of the companions other than Ahl Bayt salawatullah salam alayhi ajma'in. But when it's Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein, Sayyidatul Nisa, Fatima Zahra alayha salam, and Amir al-Mu'mineen, he said it's just because they are his kinship. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him, فَقُلْ, tell them, right? تَعَالَوْا نَدْعُ أَبْنَاءَنَا وَأَبْنَاءَكُمْ, our sons and your sons, وَنِسَاءَنَا وَنِسَاءَكُمْ, our women and your women, وَأَنفُسَنَا وَأَنفُسَكُمْ, right? أنفسنا wouldn't have sufficed Rasulullah to take Sayyidat al-Nisa and Fatima Zahra and Hassan and Hussein salawatullah salam alayhi. Why did he insist to take Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullah salam alayhi? Who told him to do so? Who told him? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did. And there is it. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala favors them. It's not Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Rasulullah, he does what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered him to do. So he took them. They are waiting in the desert. There are two of the main scholars. Al-Aqib, one name is Abdul Masih, his name was. And the second one was Al-Abham bin al-Nu'man. If you notice something as well, like back in the days, even the Jews, they had Arabic names, right? All the names that the Jews, they changed when they went to Europe. And when the crusade and the colonizers start attacking our countries. So then they are starting changing their name to sound more European and sound more Western. But their actual names, like back in the day, were like Arabic names. Anyways, so they said, when they saw the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam coming, who are they? Said, that's Hassan and Hussein, and the one who's walking behind him is Fatima al-Zahra, and the one who is with him is Ali ibn Abi Talib, his cousin, his brother, and his daughter's husband. So they said to their people, do not do Mubahila. Why? Because I said, at least that he is very certain that he is right. And there is a chance that he is right. Why? Why would you risk your own family? If you want to risk, you risk other people if you're in doubt. If you minutely think that you might not be right, you will not risk your own family. And that reminds me of something as well. Imam Abu Abdullah al-Hussein sallallahu alayhi wa sallam risked his own family. He took his own family. Because they knew. And Ali al-Akbar said, أَوَلَسْنَا عَلَى الْحَقِّ, are we on the right path? And Imam Hussein said, what? بَلَا وَالَّذِي إِلَيْهِ مَرْجِعُ الْعِبَادِ. Right? Yes. By the name of the one who shall return to him. So they know they are right. They are certain. They have no doubt whatsoever. And they agreed to let the Muslimin spread Islam in Najran. And they themselves, after 1 year, became a Muslim. Aqib Abdul Masih and Ibn Nu'man. And Najran became a Muslim city. If it wasn't for this incident, we would have not even known that Najran used to be a Christian Jewish city. This is one. And the second one, the same day, is the incident of Tasadduq bil Khatam. When Amir al-Mu'mineen, during Salat, when someone came asking for help in the masjid, he pointed out his ring for him to take, and he took it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He revealed this verse, إنما وليكم الله ورسوله والذين آمنوا الذين يقيمون الصلاة ويؤتون الزكاة وهم راكعون ومن يتولى الله ورسوله والذين آمنوا فإن حزب الله هم الغالبون. They start doubting this. First say, who said it's Ali ibn Abi Talib? Well, actually, your second Khalifa said. He said, I did it many times, so a verse comes to be revealed about me and it didn't happen. This is first. Second thing is they say that, that's not Ali ibn Abi Talib. Aren't you saying that Ali ibn Abi Talib was always focused on his salat? He will not feel or know what's going on around him. And when he was hit with an arrow that stuck in his thigh, they could take it out and didn't feel it during salat. So how would he know about his surrounding and hear everything and see everything? Well, first of all, you say this about the Prophet ﷺ, that his wife knocked on the door during his salat, so he went, opened the door and came back to do his salat. And someone spit in the masjid. Rasulullah went and he cleaned it and came back to his salat. This is first. Second thing is so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He is focused all His thought about His Creator. He Himself tells him, like, help this person. Second thing, why out of all the surahs and verses, this verse talks about إِنَّمَا وَلِيُّكُمْ, about wilayah? Why about wilayah? Why not about like a lot of other verses about sadaqah, about doing charities, and there's a lot of other verses. Wallahu yuhibbul muhsineen, right? That if someone is there's a portion of their money in mu'mineen is for the sadaqah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about this all the time. But no, here's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about wilayah, about specifically wilayah, right? Out of all the verses, and you disregard this, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about wilayah in this verse. Says no, was it Ali ibn Abi Talib? Was someone else? Or what's so important about this? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says wilayah, who has authority over you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the Prophet, and the one. Trust me, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even would have mentioned Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salam alayhi by name, and they say that's the matter, right? That to prevent Quran to be corrupted, to be altered, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have mentioned Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salam alayhi, what would have happened? They would have changed it. All of these narrations we have on both school of thoughts in regard of who Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam took with him on that day. What Rasulullah said about Amir al-Mu'mineen in Ghadir. What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi wa salam alayhi in Mubahila, right? And you disregard all of this. And we know that a lot of hadith were burned, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prevents that from happening to His words, and attests again to the mu'mineen. Where's the test shall lie? Isn't it like to accept the wilayah or not? And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of Mubahila, the day of Tasadduq of Khatam, which again reminds me of that it's one of the recommended things to do is, of course, past us is fasting, and there's a dua, and the dua we can still recite if you go to Mafatih al-Jinan, any book of dua. But there is something as well, to do what Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullah salam alayhi did, and to give charity at the day of Tasadduq bil Khatam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inshallah will accept from all mu'mineen and mu'minat. إنه ولي التوفيق وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى طيبين الطاهرين.